Okay, so good evening to the esteemed members of the Research Foundation of India, our respected expert Dr. Kunal Soni sir, and all our valued participants. I'm Dr. Neha Jain, the program coordinator. It is indeed a great honor and privilege to welcome you all to the 2 days workshop on research paper writing and concepts. This impactful initiative has been thoughtfully organized through the collaboration of the Synergy Research Foundation of India and RFI-CARE in association with Parul University, Gujarat. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to our supporting partners, Shodh Malwa, Eklavya University, JHRF, ARGA, and Edu Academic Inc. for their gracious support. Now, before we proceed, allow me to highlight the commendable work being done by the Research Foundation of India, committed to uplifting society and enhancing educational standards. RFI promotes Indian research through various events, including international and national conferences, seminars, workshops, symposiums, and other activities. RFI serves as a catalyst for integrating intellectual ideas globally, striving to satisfy humanity's thirst for innovation. At its core, RFI is dedicated to enriching the educational process by fostering a scholarly inquiry and facilitating the practical application of research outcomes. Additionally, RFI leads research and development initiatives in higher education by establishing strategic partnerships with leading universities across India through Memorandum of Understanding. Its membership comprises faculty, researchers, graduate students, and distinguished professionals, all contributing their diverse expertise to educational research. Notably, RFI operates independently of governmental sponsorship, ensuring autonomy and integrity in organizing over 1,000 international conferences, workshops, abilities, and more worldwide. Currently, RFI boasts 87 chapters in India and 18 chapters across Asia and beyond, organized into five distinct boards representing the West, East, South, North, and Central regions. Now, allow me to introduce you all with our distinguished guest speaker for the day, the exceptionally accomplished Dr. Kunal Soni sir. He currently serves as an associate professor of finance and accounting at the School of Management, GSFC University, Vadodara. With over a decade of academic experience and 3 years in the industry, his academic credentials include a BBA and MBA in finance, PhD in management, along with several specialized diplomas. He has made remarkable contributions to his field with 24 publications in reputed journals, including Scopus, ABDC, UGC-CARE, and Web of Science. Furthermore, he holds a government-recognized patent under the Intellectual Property Rights Act of 1970 for his pioneering research on techno-innovation and growth of the Indian share market. His academic excellence is reflected in his achievements, including three Best Research Paper awards at prestigious international conferences supported by UGC and AICTE. He has also been honored as the best faculty at the Parul Institute of Management. His expertise has made him a sought-after resource person and session chair at more than 20 B schools, UGC, HRDCs, and research institutions across the country. A dedicated academician and continuous learner, he has conducted numerous training sessions on analytical software, including SPSS, AMOS, Smart PLS, eViews, Advanced Excel, and R programming. He has also enriched his knowledge by participating in over 20 faculty development programs organized by premier institutions such as IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Visakhapatnam. With 90 research papers presented at national and international forums and 70 seminars and workshops conducted, he continues to be a beacon of knowledge and innovation in the domains of finance, accounting, and management. So, with that, let us all extend a very warm and cordial welcome to Dr. Kunal sir, who will now be leading today's session on the topic Basic Understanding of Research Paper Writing. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Yeah. So just confirm the screen sharing. I hope it is visible.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So good evening, all, for this 2 days workshop on research paper fundamentals. And research paper is basically considered to be one of the art to write, because it has many technical parameters. It has many crucial aspect that every researcher needs to take care. Whether you are learning for the first time or you are the experienced person, that is the different aspect. But at each and every steps, we have to take care, the basic fundamentals, which is required by all the journals, all the publication part. So if we take care of these things, so the journey of publishing those research paper would be quite better, and we would able to park our research paper at a good platform. And most importantly, the research paper should look like a scientific, because we have to meet out all those parameters in terms of data analysis, research methodology. And I always say that research is a synchronized process, that at at each of the step you should not miss out, the synchronization process, the rhythm, the momentum that you need to carry out as a part of your research work, right? So from starting point, we have to establish our pillar, so that at the end point we would be in a position, to justify our title for which we are doing the research work, right? So that is where we have to take care of all this aspect, and that is what the purpose that RFI platform, we all gathered here, and we are discussing about, the research paper fundamentals, followed by today's research paper writing and various analytical software. That would be the second portion by tomorrow, right? So how to write a research paper, right? So there is so many fundamentals that we are going to discuss today. But yes, one thing before starting the session, I would like to say that, whenever you are writing a research paper, one of the most important aspect is the fundamental background should be clear for all the research work. And it's not like that I'm sitting here and I feel that tomorrow I have to publish a research paper, or after 15 days I need a research paper because I need for the promotional aspect. So in this manner you cannot publish a research paper, because research always comes from the nearest observation, surrounding observation, what is happening, why it is happening. And to prove that, you know you have to identify the gap, you have to identify the problem for which you want to do the research paper. So that is how the identification of gap is going to start. And in simple language of research, it called the literature review, right? So literature review is a backbone for all the research work. You have to do it very promptly, very heartfully, so that you can be able to shape up your research work in a more concrete way. And at least you will try to touch up the basic societal problems which is needed to prove in your research work. And that's why I always say that research work without societal importance and managerial implications is have no importance in the market. So try to establish those importance, those usefulness, effectiveness of your research work as and when you are trying to publish your research work. Right. So that's where I'm starting my presentation. So that's what I had discussed today. That research always start with idea generation, means on which topic you want to write your research paper. So that is very, very important to identify this idea, topic, gap, or scope of the study that you want to look for, right? So if I'm saying this idea generation, it's not like that I want to do the research work on the online banking. It's not like that I want to do research work on behavioral finance. But when I'm doing this particular research work, and then, I'm taking the decision that I want to do for online banking, perception of online banking, or, the behavior of investors towards different investment options. So why I'm doing this research? Is it applicable to all the parameters? Is it applicable to all the products of online banking, or is it applicable to all the investment opportunities for the behavioral finance? Might be no, because different parameters, circumstances, importance of the market, usefulness of the products or investment options are different. So but when I'm doing this research work in the market, I need to identify why I'm doing this, what parameters are going to affect it, right? How the people are behaving, how the past research has been done, what variables they have utilized, what tests that they have done, and out of those tests, what is the results that has been generated, and out of this result, how the research has been synchronized, how the research has been, synchronized with the data, and how the data has been synchronized with the, with the variables that have been utilized. So that is how the identification of gap, topic, or how the research has been associated in that manner, so that the title of the research has been justified, you know. And if this was the research which has been done in the past, now what extra things that I want to do it? What is my extra observation out of all this research? And that is where, the gap needs to be identified. If you are providing 0.001% something new to the research, that means you are justifying your research work, because something new, something which has not been identified. And that's why the word is called research, right? So you are doing the research on already searched item, right? So the item is already searched. We are not inventing anything in social science, right? Let's say, uh, you know we are not evolving something new in this market, but whatever things which is happening or going on, we are just providing something add-on features, on this particular aspect. And that is why we called it as a research, right? So idea generation in research is very, very important part. And this always comes from the, a meticulous literature review that we all have to do. And so there are many parameters of literature review. Can anybody tell me, let's say, if I'm doing my literature review, what sort of parameters that I need to take care? Can anybody tell me? Let's say if you are doing this literature review, so which parameters that you are looking for from the past, research paper, to decide your research paper? There should be some observation that you people have noted,
Keywords.
keywords. Okay, but keywords is already there, no? Okay, but anyways, that could be the part of observation, correct? Anything else?
Research
Not older
objective.
than 10 years, sir.
Research objective, okay, great. Then,
What should be the
Not older
inclusion
than
and the
10 years.
exclusion criteria?
okay, inclusion criteria, fine. Then,
Data.
data in a sense, what we called it as. I think research paper does not have the data, right? It has a data analysis.
We can say data sources, the platforms
Okay,
from which we
data sources,
search,
right?
the
Yeah.
Google Scholar, the PubMed, likewise, we can include that.
Okay, journal is not important, but let's say if I'm picking up one of the paper in peer-reviewed journal, right? So type of data that we have collected in terms of, so the variables that we have picked up, to justify the research work or the research idea or problem of the research. Yes. Yeah. Anything else out of it? Great attempt.
The
Anything else
main
that something
one more point we can add is the type of study that we are doing, the qualitative or the quantitative.
perfect quite type of study, so again, for type of study, your research will have a different directions. Yeah, great, great. That is the one point I was looking for. Type of study, that is qualitative or quantitative. Perfect. So just, or you want to observe the opinion of the people on the particular problem, or you have your own problem on which you want to do the study, so if you want to make comment on the existing problem that has been identified by the other researcher, which is called qualitative, right? And you have something new problem on which you want to do the research, right? So that is called quantitative. Perfect. Anything else out of it? Now I'll tell you, right? If we are doing literature review, what we have to see, right? You have to see the title. Based on title, every title should consist the variables, right? So you must have to see the variables, right? Let's say if I'm saying I want to do the research on consumer perception towards the online banking, right? So if I want to see this title, so there are two variables which is considered to be one of the important parameters for my research work, that is called consumer perception and online banking, right? So this is two variables on which I want to study. Again, consumer perception is a big term. How I want to evolve this consumer perception, so that I need to break down those consumer perception into multiple factors, which is called latent variable, right? Behavioral intentions, purchasing power, product availability, advertising impact. So many things are there. So that is called variable, right? So based on this, so again, type of study, that is qualitative and quantitative, right? I want to do the qualitative, means already the study which has been done on this parameter, I want to make a comment out of the summary of multiple researcher, or I have my own observation and I have my own research gap based on which I want to do the research. So it is a quantitative study. Let's say we are going for quantitative study, right? So out of this, once my variable has been decided, I need to decide the scope, right? So where I want to conduct this study and up to how much factors or how much parameters I want to cover up. So that always comes from the literature review, right? So whatever literature review which I have done it, something new, something add-on things that I need to add up. So this is called scope of study, where I need to include the variables in terms of either geographically or either the product features or parameters that I want to add on it. Right. So that is where it is come into scope of study. Once the scope of study has been decided, I need to define the objectives. So objectives of the study. So I need to see the objectives which previous researcher has identified or settled. So based on objective, I have to decide the hypothesis. Right. Based on hypothesis, I need to see how the data has been collected. Either they have gone through the primary study or secondary study. Many times those who are doing in finance, so they have to collect the secondary study from the various, organizations where we have to pick up the data. And once the data has been done, so they have to do the analysis, right? So whatever data that you are covering up, whatever data that you are collecting from the research work, based on this data, your data analysis tools and techniques will be decided, right? So depending upon the types of data, let's say you have the nominal data, you have the ordinal data, you have the scale data. So depending upon the types of data that you have generated, you need to apply the various data analysis tools and techniques, right? So this is also going to be very, very important, so data analysis tools and techniques that you are going to apply. What is the findings and conclusion that previous researcher has identified, So this is the finding and conclusion that you also have to observe. And out of these findings and conclusion, again, you will utilize them for your idea generation techniques, right? And one of the important aspects is societal importance that this researcher has done it. So whatever the previous researcher has done it and whatever the parameters that we, again, for research methodological part, we have to see what I can say is one of the importantest type of study that we have to see variables of this study, which I have told you, data collection tools and techniques, data analysis tools and techniques, sampling techniques, which type of samples that you are going to collect for your research work. Are you going to collect purposive sampling, non-purposive sampling, convenience sampling, probabilistic convenience sampling, non-probabilistic convenience sampling? Whatever it is applicable based on your objectives and the title that you have defined based on identification of problem, it is going to be, right? So you can just you just realized the importance of the idea generation in research. Sometimes we are considering it very lightly, right? That what is idea generation, so but it has a lot of importance and a lot of impact on your research work, right? So that is where you have to see the idea generation things that you are going to do in your research work. Right. So these are the important things that we have to look forward as a part of research idea generation. So we called it, today's session is, basic fundamentals of research paper writing. But you can see this basic fundamental has leads to so many things, so previously, which was not, we are aware about it. I hope you are agree with this, right? Yes or no? So these are the important things that we have to see as a part of idea generation, right? So you can see this research process, which we have discussed right now. Just see the observation, right? See this process, right? So it always starts from the idea, right? Let's say I want to do the, research work on the online banking, right? I just want to do for online banking. It just started from this. Even I can make my title to be more scientifically based on my observation. I can go for unveiling factors for the consumers to use the online banking in so and so region. Let's say if I'm doing the research in Madhya Pradesh, right? So it is Madhya Pradesh. So this research idea needs to be, finalized and concrete the things based on the literature review, right? So literature review you have to do very concretely, very heartfully, So it is a backbone point of your research work. You always needs to justify these things into scientific way. And that is where literature review is going to play a prominent role for your research work and to make your foundation very, very strong. So these two initial process are considered to be the foundation of your research work. If you are not making concrete efforts, I think you will not be able to direct your research into scientific way. And somehow your research will lack up you will feel somehow stuck up at the middle of the stage of the research. But if these things are clear in your mind, you will not stop yourself till the last step, which is called conclusion, decides the research idea. Right. So your journey, your idea, your process will be flawless, where you will not feel any problems, any stoppage. Right. You will continue with your research journey, and finally you will be able to finish up in a more efficient manner. Right. So, and this process is continuous process. Nowhere you can skip anything. If you skip anything, it means you are not directing in a scientific manner. You are just writing the things in a manner you feel it, irrespective of the behavior of the variables, the behavior of the process, the behavior of the research. Right. So that is where we have to take care of all this aspect. So if you do the literature review, we would be able to differentiate between what we think and what other has already thought about it, and what we are thinking, what we are planning, and what others have already thought and proven. We will try to establish a thin line of difference that we are trying to prove, which is called research problem. So research problems always comes from the basic general research idea, and those research idea has been executed based on literature review. And out of this, what we are trying to prove based on research idea, that differentiation will be able to create based on the theoretical formation of the research problem, right? So research problem is going to play an important role over here. Then once your problem has been identified, so you have to design empirical research questions. As I already told you, many a times the problems could be anything. Let's say you are doing research in Madhya Pradesh, and if somebody tomorrow will feel it that I want to do this research in Himachal Pradesh, so obviously the factor could remain same, but the location has been changed. Again, this is a part of research gap, research problem, because those factors has been proven in Madhya Pradesh, but it has not been proven in Himachal Pradesh. So obviously the researcher can carry out, or even some researcher in Madhya Pradesh wants to carry out the same topic, but although he can make some changes in the variables, in the parameters of online banking that already been searched out in a different way. Right. Although if researcher wants to keep this parameters same, so the product could remain changed. Right. So this changes can be multiple things. Let's say if I want to see that, the basic general perspective of the consumers in terms of monetary and security aspect is same is applicable to some other products in the market. So the parameters could be same, but the product change. If product remains same, the parameters change. If products and parameters are remain changed, location could be changed. So that is where the gap needs to be established. What else you can provide it? Variables can be changed, right? Data can be changed, and through which you can make your research to be unique, to put into journals, to put into public, and to publish into the market, right? So that is where theoretical formulation of the research problem needs to be identified, and based on that, your questions needs to be designed. So let's say if somebody is asking me, sir, what kind of questions are you talking about? So simply aspect is, based on this research problem, you have certain objectives, right? And this objectives leads to certain variables. Let's say if I'm taking about online banking, right? So privacy, right? Uh, Transactions, flawless transactions, right? Then proper services, right? So let's say these are the three parameters which I have identified, which is called latent variable. I hope you are aware about it. What is latent variable? Anybody? What is latent variable? Can anybody tell me what is latent variable? Anyone is knowing about it? Are you aware about structure equation modeling, MO, Smart PLS? Have you gone through it for the data analysis purpose? Say yes or no. If no, then I will proceed further. Anyone? Latent variable? Okay, am I audible, all of you? I think.
Yes, you're audible, but
Right.
I'm not aware of it.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir, for responding. Thank you. Okay, so latent variable means the variable which cannot be answered by asking simple question. Now the question is how. So I ask you, let's say, sir, do you feel that online banking provides the privacy of the data? So what could be your answer, sir?
Yes.
Yes. So is it suffice the purpose that yes, it is providing? If somebody wants to believe, then they will believe. They will not ask for the explanation why it is.
Absolutely. They'll ask for explanation.
Right. So I cannot explain in one simple question with dichotomous question, yes and no. So that is called latent variable. So if I'm asking privacy, say by yes or no. So again, for privacy, there are so many parameters that people are looking for, right? Let password is protected, you know, auto password, auto lock system is there, you know, money safety is there, right? So many things which is going to be asked, and this will suffice the privacy. And this cannot be suffice in yes or no, because in sometimes this is going to be on higher side, this is going to be on lower side. But overall, the privacy score needs to be developed, and that is where we have to ask this particular question into Likert scale, yes or no, in 1 to 5 rating or 1 to 7 rating, whatever it is. Are you getting it? So this latent variable needs to be designed in research question, and all this latent variable needs to be answered in multiple, let's say this is 4, 5, 6. So whatever things that you need to identify, you can ask. Again, this latent variable statement. So this is called latent variable. Privacy is a latent variable, right? Password protection, security, money security, right? All these aspects are considered to be the statements, which has been measured in terms of 1 to 5 rating scales. Clear? So these are the questions. These are the questions. I hope it is clear, everyone. To justify one of the latent variable. But how this comes? This always comes from this point. And this point will decide which latent variable you need to take based on the past research which has been done. Is it clear to all of you? This is the best, and this is the common questions for all the researcher, that how the latent variable needs to decide and how to differentiate our research work from the previous researcher. So these are the ways through which you can do it. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, based on the questions which you have done, and you will carry out your research journey, and whatever questions you have designed here, right? So this will depend upon the objectives that you have decided and your target audience, right? So based on this, your research design is also going to be planned, right? Let's say if I'm going for primary research, there are two types of research, primary and secondary data. So primary data is usually collecting data through questionnaire. The secondary data are always collecting data from website, right? So if I'm going for questionnaire, right, so I'm going to describe these factors, yes or no? I'm going to describe these factors, privacy, transaction, security, right? So this is called descriptive. I'm going to describe those factors, so it is called descriptive. Am I going to describe MP city people? So am I going to describe only Indore city, or I'm going to also describe Bhopal, Malwa, and multiple cities out of the Madhya Pradesh, right? So I'm going to ask, or am I going to ask this particular question to only single respondent, or am I going to collect these responses from, let's say, 400 or 500 respondent, which is required for my research work? Yes or no? So I'm going to ask
Yes,
this
yes.
particular questions to multiple people at a single point of time. Yes or no? मतलब आप क्या एक ही रिस्पोंडेंट के ऊपर पूरा एनालिसिस कर रहे हो एक टाइम पे? मतलब एक को पूछ लिया उसके ऊपर क्या रिजल्ट आ रहा है, फिर दूसरे को पूछा उसके ऊपर क्या रिजल्ट आ रहे हो? क्या आप ऐसा कर रहे हो, या आप 500 को एक साथ रिस्पॉन्स कलेक्ट कर लेते हो 2-3 महीने के अंदर, एंड देन यू विल स्टार्ट एनालिसिस? क्या करोगे इस पे?
All the responses will be
So,
recorded, and then later on analysis will be done.
Yeah, so you are collecting those responses from multiple people in single time period. Yes or no? Let's say you have decided the time frame like 2 months or 3 months. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Time
sir.
frame doesn't mean that you will collect in single days, right? So you have described your time period, let's say 2-3 months. So you have collected those data and you are going to analyze those data on the later on. So that means you are asking multiple people in single period of time. So this is called cross sectional. You are asking this simple data to multiple respondent to answer, and then after you will describe, means you will evaluate. So this research design is called descriptive cross sectional. Is it clear? Right. Let's say
Yes, sir.
somebody is doing research on finance where they are collecting, let's say, I want to see the performance analysis of textile industries, selected textile companies for last 10 years. So I'll collect the data for 10 years. So am I going to ask those data to any person that I'll wait for 2-3 months to collect the responses? Or if at all I want to measure this particular performance for textile companies for last 10 years in terms of financial performance. So can I get the data in a single day? Am I going to ask multiple people for this? Or I can go to website and I can collect the financial data of that company and I'm go through with it. क्या करूँगा मैं? क्या करेंगे अगर फाइनेंशियल डेटा लेना है 10 साल का, तो मैं किसी बंदे को रास्ते से पूछूंगा या मैं सीधी कंपनी वेबसाइट पे जाके डाउनलोड करूंगा?
Obviously, company website.
ऑब्वियसली कंपनी वेबसाइट, राइट? सो क्या कंपनी वेबसाइट पे डेटा रखा हुआ है या मैं उनको बोलूंगा सर आप 10 साल के डेटा रखिए फिर मैं डाउनलोड करूं?
It's on
No,
the
sir.
website.
It's
It's
on the
already
annual
there,
reports.
right? It's already there. I'm just a way to get the responses. I'm just a way to get the data with single click. Yes or no? If you know where the data is, right? So I'm collecting those data in single point of time for multiple variables. Let's say if I'm looking for net profit, if I'm looking for current ratio, if I'm looking for sales, if I'm looking for current assets, if I'm looking for gross profit, if I'm looking for taxation, right? So all those variables are already there, right? I'm just away from one click, right? For 10 years of data or 5 years of data or 3 years of data. So it is a time period based data. So it is called longitudinal study. Longitudinal research design. So according to that, so your research design is longitudinal. So whatever the rest of the process is there, it is going to be according to longitudinal. And if your research design is descriptive cross-sectional, then rest of the things are depending upon the descriptive cross-sectional. Because you can see this, your data collection. Let's say if you are going for descriptive cross-sectional, so your data collection would be from multiple people, right? This self-described means this is primary study where the variables have been identified and this has to be asked to the multiple people from a single period of time to multiple people. Yes or no? And if it is longitudinal, the multiple variables has been collected with the secondary data with the time period, historical data. Are you getting it? So research always speaks based on the scientific terminology. I don't need to explain that what I have done it. But if I'm using this particular terminology, this itself describes that I have used historical data for time period. Is it clear? I hope I'm making sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So whatever data that you have collected, now this data is going to be merged, so now this data collection has been done through various, let's say you are going for primary research, so you might have questionnaire, you might have personal interviews, whatever it is, right? So based on data collection you will start data analysis. Now how the data analysis is going to be started, so it depends upon the research questions, right? If I'm going for Likert scale, so Likert scale are scale data, right? If I'm asking someone, right, what is your gender, what could be the answer? Male, female? Yes or no? So answer is obviously in the selected categories, but do I need to ensure that in terms of the numbers which I have to put? Let's say if I'm asking someone gender, so should I put male first or female first? What should I do? What should be I have to put first, either male or female? क्या करेंगे?
I guess anything? Anyone?
Yes, perfect. I guess anything. That means there is no sequence does matters. So whenever you are going for categorical question, right, and where the sequence of the option does not matters, right, sequence of the options does not matters, so it is called nominal data. Yes or no? Clear? Now I'm asking one more question. What is your age? But I'm not asking in an open-end question. And let's say if I'm asking, let's say if I have asked the age and I had put this kind of filling the blanks. So what could be the answer? Which type of data it is? Is it a scale or nominal?
It's
Always
exact
do
age.
remember, always do remember, whenever you are taking those data in this longitudinal study in secondary data, all the data are scale data. They are pure numbers. They are pure numbers. Is it clear? They are pure numbers. So if you are asking someone, what is your age? So somebody will respond like 35. Other respondent will answer like 54. So these are pure number, right? But if I'm considering this option to be like this, less than 20 years, 20 to 40, 41 to 60, and more than 60. So now in this particular option, which option should I need to put first? Less than 20 or greater than 60? Or 20 to 40? Which option should I put first? If I'm asking this questionnaire and to the respondent, which option should I put first to answer like a age?
Ascending order?
Less.
Yeah, ascending order, descending order. But you need to follow certain orders, no? Let's say you are going for ascending order, right? So which option should I need to put first?
Less than 20?
Less than 20. Why not 20, 40?
Ascending orders again.
But why ascending order is important? That's the question. सीधी सी बात है ना कि भाई 20 से पहले एक ही आता है या 20 से पहले 19 आता है. So, this is a psychological mind, psychological things that whosoever is sitting for answering in terms of number category, so the less number should be first or the highest number should be first if you are going for descending order. But that should be in order, whatever order that you follow, right? That means the options which are in category and where the sequence does matters, this is called ordinal data. Is it clear? This is called ordinal data. This category called ordinal data, and this category is called nominal data, and this is called scale data. So depending upon the type of data which we have gathered over here, based on which we have to do the data analysis. So data analysis, there are various tools and techniques which is available. I'm not going into detail that which tools is applicable. That would be the tomorrow's topic. But yes, you can go for descriptive analysis, you can go for chi-square, you can go for frequency analysis, you can go for parametrics in terms of independent sample t-test, one sample t-test, ANOVA, one-way ANOVA, two-way ANOVA, MANCOVA, ANCOVA, right? Man-Whitney U test, Kruskal-Wallis test, KW test. What I can say is pre and post sample, that is pre and post sample test, so these are the various test factor analysis, structure equation modelings. So these all data analysis can be possible with the help of the objective that you have set based on the literature review through the identification of problem and the objective that you have settled, right? So this way you would be able to analyze your data, right? So data analysis have certain results, you might have certain answers in your hands. So this is called answering the empirical research question. So based on whatever analysis that you have done. So once I already said this analysis could be possible with the empirical research question and literature review. So once your analysis has been done, you finally needs to answer these research questions that you have identified. I hope I'm making sense. Yes or no? You need to you need to answer those questions now, right? You need to answer these questions based on whatever analysis or results that you have gathered. Clear? And that is the answer is nothing but the theoretical interpretation of your results. Right. So what if you have received this result that there is a significant difference of opinion, then why it is there? If there is no difference of opinion, then why it is there? And let's say if you have received the significant difference of opinion, then you need to compare with the previous researcher whether he was receiving. So you need to confirm that this researcher was doing in MP and you are doing in Himachal Pradesh. So if the results are same, then you need to conclude that whatever factors for the online banking which was affecting the users behavior towards online banking are same in Himachal Pradesh, or you might have certain deviation in the results. That means there are 2 3 aspects where you have received the deviation, so also you have to report those deviations. I hope it is clear, and this is called
Yes, yes, sir.
conclusion. Sorry, yeah, any questions? I hope the entire process is clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what the key areas of research that we have to follow: the abstract, keywords, introduction, literature review, methodology, data analysis, findings and conclusion and recommendations, right? So this is the common body of research paper. If anybody is writing a research paper, so they have to taken care all those parameters in their research work. Ideally, again, the structure is going to deviate based on journal to journal which you are going for. For every Scopus journal, they have their own structure, so you have to follow. But again, they are falling into these categories only because subcategories are considering the common parameter. If I'm going into research methodology, so nobody can deny like sampling techniques, data collection tools and techniques, data analysis tools and techniques, right? So this is going to be common, but the sequence might change, the name somehow change. Some journals are calling research methodology, some journals are only calling methodology, right? So the terminology is slightly different, but the crux, the parameters are not going to change, right? So that is where we have to see to it. Okay. So research design, as already somebody said, that qualitative and quantitative. So qualitative means we are not doing our own research, but we are just trying to observe the research of other on the same topic, and we are trying to provide the conclusion on this particular aspect. This is called qualitative. Quantitative means we are doing our own research with the help of literature review, identifying variables, framing a questions, collecting the data from the respondent, and applying the self-reliant data analysis tools and techniques, and through which we are observing particular answers to this particular things. That is called quantitative. Nomothetic versus idiographic is not much important, but yes, if somebody wants to know, then nomothetic means if we are doing the study on particular individual variable, that is called nomothetic, and idiographic means we are doing the study on the multiple variables, that is called idiographic. But mostly we social science, we are doing it qualitative or quantitative. So what is qualitative and quantitative? So as already said that it generally deals in words, image, and subjective, because we are not applying our own figures. We are just observing, we are just seeing that what people have thought about it, what people has thought about it, what people has spoke about it, right? Based on which we are just collecting those data and trying to do the analysis on this aspect. If somebody wants to do the qualitative analysis in a more proper and justified way, they can go for one of the great software for the qualitative analysis, which is called NVivo. Right. So if somebody is doing the research on qualitative, so they can use NVivo software for the qualitative research. Yeah. Okay. For quantitative research, you need to generally deal in numbers. That is your own research, your own data, your own fresh data. That is based on which we are collecting and we are doing the research on the particular aspect. I hope you all are clear about what is primary data and what is secondary data.
Yes, sir.
Right. So can you
We
explain?
know primary secondary.
in one.
Primary, sir, 100 collected. Firstly, we collected self, go
Okay.
to the areas which we have need. And secondary already published and already available in the site, in the magazine, in other sources.
So it is not
Yes,
published
sir.
by our site, right? Because it has already been published by some other agencies or people, and we are just using those data, right, for our own analysis purpose. So this is called secondary data. Primary data means, let's say you are doing the survey in Madhya Pradesh, and you go to the market, you go to the field, and you have asked the people what is your opinion, perception. So, and based on which you have asked to the people, and people have responded accordingly. So this data is only with you. It has not been published at anywhere for any agencies, right? It is only with you. You are the first hand user. That is why it is called primary data. Usually financial data of the companies are considered to be secondary data because the company is the first user of the data. And then after, various agencies like SEBI, RBI, right? So they are also using it. So already you have multiple layers to use the data, and you are one of the researcher out of the market for the same, and that is why it is called secondary data. Yeah. Okay. So qualitative research is a range of activities from exploratory design, from completing explanation, and basically it assumes that the people have meaningful actions or experiences that can be interpreted. As I already said, you are not doing your own research, but whatever research has been done by the other authors in the same field, you are just trying to have a meaningful actions or meaningful interpretation out of their experiences for their research, right? So you are just, combining all the research and all the conclusions, and you are just trying to make a comment on this research, right? So that is where it is called qualitative. Areas of data collection for qualitative research. So it could be economical point of view. Let's say you can also interpret the comments of, the RBI governor who has made the comment for the current repo rate and reverse repo rate, right? You can have the financial minister's speech on the economical condition or some policies which you want to analyze. So this is where you can have the qualitative research. So as anybody has used this NVO software, so they might be aware that it provides few keywords which has been, provoked during the speech of the particular person to whom you are trying to study for the quality. And that should be flexible because there is no scientific parameters for this, because qualitative is always running with the assumption belief system. So this kind of research are always flexible. Nobody can say that this could be the result and this could not be the result. Anything could be the part of results depending upon the speech or the person's opinion that you are feeling. Again, only one person cannot be correct on this aspect. So that's why you have to at least study multiple people. And that's why it has been said that the response size at least to be justified level to avoid the bias, to avoid, the self mistakes, self response, right? So all these mistakes needs to be avoided, and that's why it is flexible and open to door with to why and how, right? So you always have to ask the question why and how, because if somebody's asked, let's say you are taking some interviews of finance minister, so you must have seen that people are asking the questions on the monetary policy or the budgetary aspect that has been announced at the end of the February, right? So journalists are asking that why you are doing this, how it is going to be possible if you are coming out with certain speech. So this is a qualitative research. So once she will deliver the speech, you can identify and you can interpret what she was telling and on what factors she was imposing much importance on it, right? And that's why richness of data is always going to be there, because you are studying to the grassroots of the particular person or the policies. And if you are the new to the research, it always great to start with it, because sometimes you don't know about the scientific tools of data analysis on all these aspects. So at least you can try to evaluate the people, you can see that what they are doing it, how they are doing it, and how they are performing it. And once you have this qualitative research, you can always start your own research work with the quantitative aspect as well. So these are the various survey methods that you can always go for as far as quantitative research is concerned. So usually we are not using much all this aspect, but yeah, survey is always with the survey form, or either it could be interviews also. So either you can collect the interviews through the telephone interview, face-to-face interview, or if you are doing survey, so you can take the survey responses through the physical form by going at the location. The survey respondent can be either selected randomly, or you might have certain criteria to filter it out. But in all the manners, you are giving them physical form. or if you are not going physically, you can send the emails to them with the soft copy, right? So that is how it is going to collect the data. So if I need to make a comparison between qualitative and quantitative research, so the objective of the research is to discover the new ideas, insights, and feelings of the particular researcher or the person to whom you are trying to study. While quantitative is not about the feelings and insights, but it always with the validation of facts, because it always speaks in numbers and it always works in number. So it always concerned with the validation of facts, estimates, and relationship, right? So here we are trying to establish the relations with all these aspects. Types of research, if somebody is asking me, then it is exploratory. While it is quantitative, it is called descriptive and causal, right? So I already mentioned that descriptive. If I'm taking the research from the, if I'm taking the data from the multiple people on single point of time, I'm trying to describe those research, but already I'm taking those responses from multiple people and single point of time. So it is cross-sectional, right? So descriptive cross-sectional and causal risk. And usually we are trying to see the impact of one variable on other variable, like regression. So cause and effect, if I'm changing the one parameters of this particular things, what is the effect on the others? So that is called cause and effect. Types of questions, if I'm going for qualitative. So qualitative is usually don't, abide with the close-ended question, is usually open-ended question. So somehow it is open-ended. And these questions could not be in a structure. It could be in open-ended because you want to see the random reaction, frequent reactions of the people to whom you are taking the opinion or the interviews. So it is usually semi-structured or unstructured, right? And usually it is probing. You are trying to hit the people to answer those questions, right? And if I'm talking about quantitative, so the parameters are fixed, objectives are fixed. So mostly it is considered to be structured, right? So you have to go with the structure manner. The variable have been decided, what questions I need to ask, and based on this question, what variables I need to ask. So all things has already been decided. That is why it is called structured. So based on this classification of design, so which I was discussing, so exploratory and conclusive. Exploratory means when you are exploring something new by your own, you are inventing something new by your own. So it is called exploratory. You are trying to explore. You are not describing. You are firstly exploring those things. So that is called exploratory research design. Sometimes you have learned factor analysis, where you are applying factors for your first time for your own research. That is called exploratory. But if you are trying to fit those, factors in the location or the other areas, so it is called confirmatory, right? So you are confirming, you are concluding those research. So if you are concluding those research, so under that you have descriptive and causal research. So descriptive means you are describing that, why this variable is fitting to this, what is the opinion of these people on this particular variable, and how you are describing the relation among each other. So that is called descriptive. And under descriptive, as I already mentioned, if you are collecting the responses from multiple people for a single period of time, so this is called cross-sectional research design. And if you are collecting the data for the single location, although the people does not matter or the time period does not matter, but yes, time series does matter. So it is called longitudinal, right? Because you are doing research for the time factor. And causal research means you want to see the impact of one variable on another variable, right? Let's say if I'm doing the changes in the value of X, then what is the impact on Y, right? So that is called causal research, right? So you must have learned the regression line. Y is equal to alpha plus beta x1, yes or no, plus error term. Agree? So what is this Y? Can anybody tell me? In the regression line, what is this Y? What is this Y? Y is
Dependent variable, sir.
dependent variable. Perfect. What is this alpha? What is this alpha?
Don't know, sir. This one.
Alpha, you must have seen the regression line like this. This is yx. This is x-axis, right? So this is dependent variable. Yes or no? So x is, if y is dependent, then x is
Independent.
independent variable, right? And this is zero line, right? So you must have seen this right? So this is like this, and this is a 0 line border, right? So this is, let's say here it is 3, right? So let's say 0 is 3, right? This is a line. What does it mean? Does this line touches x-axis at any point of time? If I am drawing this line like this, does this line touches x-axis?
No.
No. So
No,
this
no,
is
sir.
called the bare minimum value of dependent variable when x is 0. Bare minimum value of independent variable when bare minimum value of dependent variable when independent value is 0. So this is called alpha. I hope it is clear.
Alpha intercept values, I think. Beta.
Alpha is intercept, right? And this is an intercept. What is intercept? So bare minimum value irrespective of the figure of independent variable. The bare minimum value, right? Let's say if I'm looking for, let's say, what is the changes in net profit if I'm changing the tax rate, right? So if I'm not changing anything in the tax rate, so was the net profit was 0, or the net profit was at certain position? There was a certain position, no net profit. That ऐसा तो नहीं है कि net profit में अगर 10% मतलब टैक्स रेट अभी 10% चल रहा है, तो 10% का मैं 10% रहने देता हूं तो नेट प्रॉफिट 0 है, ऐसा तो नहीं है। नेट प्रॉफिट तो है कंपनी का। सो जो है वो है, क्या है? अल्फा। क्या है? इंटरसेप्ट। इज इट क्लियर?
यस सर।
राइट। अब मैं 10 से 12 कर रहा हूं तो क्या उसमें डाउनफॉल आ रहा है, क्या अप आ रहा है? राइट। सो लेट्स से अगर मैं डाउन कर रहा हूं नेट टैक्स रेट को, सो नेट प्रॉफिट जा रहा है, ये नेट प्रॉफिट है। अब ये नेट प्रॉफिट जा रहा है 6 करोड़। ठीक है। कब हो रहा है? कि जब मैं टैक्स रेट को 10% से 12%, 8% कर रहा हूं, तो ये जा रहा है 6। ठीक है। तो ये क्या हुआ? पॉजिटिव मूवमेंट हुआ। ये लाइन हुआ, दिस इज कॉल्ड स्लोप, दिस इज कॉल्ड स्लोप बीटा, स्लोप लाइन, पॉजिटिव स्लोप लाइन, राइट। अगर मान लो कि मैंने टैक्स रेट बढ़ा दिया होता, 12 कर दिया होता यहाँ पे, ठीक है, तो ये शायद यहाँ फॉल करता। यस और नो? तो अगर मैं 6 से नीचे आ रहा हूं तो मेरा स्लोप लाइन कुछ ऐसे बनता। अगर मान लो मेरा प्रीवियस प्रॉफिट 6 होता, अब जाके मैं 4 हो गया, तो ये नेगेटिव स्लोप लाइन हुआ। इज इट क्लियर?
Yes,
So this is called cause and effect relations, right? This is just an hypothetical example, but you have to see the variable to variable, and this variable could be multiple also, right? So this is simple regression.
It means beta is a slope.
Beta is a slope line.
That shows
Right.
the changing.
Beta is a
How
slope
much changing
line
in
which shows the relationship between dependent and independent variable.
independent. Okay.
Right. Is what is the impact which is happening in independent variable, and what is the impact is going on dependent variable due to the changes in independent variable. If it is positive, that beta will show the positive like this. And if it is negative, then beta will reflect negative. But alpha is a bare minimum line, right? चाहे टैक्स रेट में ऊपर करो या नीचे करो, 3 तो है, 3 करोड़ तो प्रॉफिट है। पर अगर आप टैक्स रेट बढ़ा रहे हो तो प्रॉफिट कम हो रहा है। दिस इज जस्ट हाइपोथेटिकल, ऑल्दो टैक्स रेट और प्रॉफिट का कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, बट फिर भी एक जस्ट समझने के लिए है कि अगर नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव रिलेशन या ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में कोई चीज चलती है तो उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होता है। मान लो मैं टैक्स रेट की जगह यहाँ पे ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंसेस कर देता हूँ, तो ऑब्वियसली इट हैज एन इम्पैक्ट, राइट। सो ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंसेस का इम्पैक्ट प्रॉफिट पे क्या होता है? तो अगर ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंस बढ़ रहा है तो ऑब्वियसली प्रॉफिट डाउन होगा, और अगर ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंसेस में कम कर रहा हूँ तो ऑब्वियसली प्रॉफिट अप होगा, right? So that is ups and down relations, negative, positive. So beta is a slope line that shows the relationship between dependent and independent variable. Clear? If it is positive, then it will show the positive slope, and if it is negative, then it will reflect negative slopes. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are the research design mechanisms, So, just like we have seen this research methodological chapter, right? Under this research methodological chapter, if somebody is asking me, sir, what could be the parameters which I need to cover up? Right. So I need to cover up research methodology, statement of the problem, review of previous studies, scope, objectives. So these are the parameters which I need to cover up in this research methodological chapter, which I was already describing, Sampling plan, are you going with probabilistic, non-probabilistic, convenient, non-convenient, significance of the study, which I have already described before starting my
Hello?
session. Like, yes,
Hello?
yes,
Sir,
madam.
after a review, we are going to find out the research problem. First, we have to find the research problem.
Based on review, because review will decide, no, what has been done and what has to be done.
Okay. And after problem, we have to find the gap, na?
Right. Gap and problem both are same, madam.
Okay.
Either I could say research problem or gap could be same.
Thank you, sir.
Clear?
Hmm.
A review of previous study, that's why what I have mentioned is because if you are going for systematic way, no, so you have to mention line by line, right, which author has done what and what they have said, what they have proved, how, right? So that is why you have to see this.
Sir, when we are writing the synopsis, actually I have write my synopsis. तो उसमें सर पहले literature review, then research gap आएंगे ना?
लिटरेचर रिव्यू हमेशा पहले आता है.
Okay. Then research gap, problem, then
Obviously,
gap, then objective.
how we can decide gap first, because without literature review.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? You can ask the questions, right? Because it's not like that is a lecture series going on. You always ask your questions. Any more questions? Right.
No, sir. It's in from my side.
So chapter scheme again, so chapter schemes is basically considered to be the time factor or timeline that you are going to see, for which time you are doing what, right? Let's say in how many times you are doing literature review, in how many times you are going to see the methodology, in how many time you are going for data collection, and how many times you are going to do the data analysis. So all these things we have to describe, and that has to be given in a well in advance. Yes, please. Yeah, please. Any questions?
Will you be talking about how to write the findings?
Findings will decide based on what objectives and problems which you have decided. So when your problem has been decided in point number 1, 2, 3, so that you have tried to incorporate in objectives. Based on objective, what you have done is you might have described your questions. Based on questions, you might have applied statistical tools which is applicable as per the criteria. And based on statistical tools, you might have received certain findings and conclusion. So these findings and conclusion you need to align and link with the problems which you have identified. And based on that, for every questions you have to answer. And once your answer is there, you have to summarize those things, which is nothing but, concluding part. And this conclusion is nothing but the actual title of your research work. Clear?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions? Fine. So statement of problem, which I have already decided, right? So you put the problem in context. Why do we already know, right? Describe the precise issue that research will address, what your research will address in comparison to others, shows the relevance of the problem, why you are doing this research, and set the objectives. That means what you are going to do as part of your research work, right? So always problem statement is a backbone for the objectives. If somebody wants to know the objective crux, then problem statement can be that. But objective is a more precise manner in compared to problem statement, where you are trying to explore each and every problem. Scope of the study. So either it could be research area or either it could be parameters, right? As I already mentioned, that how you can differentiate your research work from the others. So either it could be areas or it could be parameters or it could be both. Clear? Objectives based on research problem, you have to define your scope in a point-to-point manner, right? And objective should not be too long, too short. It should be appropriately, and and this objective needs to be decided based on the type of research design that you are going for. Exploratory, then your aim should be explore the concept where you are trying to prove certain new factors, new parameters. And descriptive research objective means the parameter is already there in the market. You want to describe these parameters in your area or in your research in terms of why, right? And causal research, you are trying to see the cause and effect relations, which is based on experiment. Like, let's say if somebody is making in pharmaceutical industry, so if somebody wants to see that this particular drugs is going to impact on human bodies, so they have to try different chemicals multiple times, and they will see what is the effect on one drops of one particular chemical, and that's where they will establish the relations, right? So this is called causal effect. Hypothesis, so based on objectives, you need to define null, hypothesis, and alternate. So null is always says there is no scope of research, that means no difference. And alternative says there is a difference, right? So depending upon the hypothesis and depending upon the objective, the hypothesis needs to be designed. But again, it should be very specific and precise, and it should be clearly reflecting the objectives of the study, which is defined based on the problems, right? So that is where null and alternate hypothesis. Significance of this study. What is this important?
What is the difference between research question and hypothesis?
Research question and hypothesis. Hypothesis means it reflects the objectives, right? So if I have set the objective that I want to see the difference of opinion of the people, right? So null says that there is no difference, but alternative says there is a difference, right? So to prove the difference, I have to ask the questions, right? Now I need to decide, I need to judge those questions based on hypothesis testing. Do really people have the difference on this particular factors for the online banking, right? So if null says then there is no difference, so if no difference is there, there is no further scope of study. But let's say if you're going for having your result is going to have that there is a difference, so I can always say that why this difference has been arised. Let's say if I have received the difference based on age profile, right? Let's say we have seen this, no, let's less than 20 years, 20 to 40, 41 to 60, more than 60 years. Now I have received a difference of opinion from the people of different age group. So now I want to check that which age group is making significant difference of opinion. That doesn't mean that age has received a significant difference of opinion. That means that all the age group are making difference of opinion. There would be a chances that there are certain age group who are having similar opinion, but there could be one or two age group who is making difference of opinion. And if you want to see this particular difference of opinion, so you must have been known that you must have gone through, like, let's say if you are following ANOVA test, right? So then you have to go for post hoc analysis, right, to see this difference. If your data is not normal, then you need to go for Kruskel-Wallis test. So you have to go to mean rank, and you have to see that which mean rank is the highest position. So these people are making significant difference of opinion out of the overall category of age of the respondent towards their opinion for the online banking. So this is called alternative, right? Alternative hypothesis, whenever you are arriving as a result, there is always a further scope of improvement in your results. Yes, I hope it is clear, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Any more questions on this?
So can you say anything about
research question, sir?
Just a minute. Can you repeat? I missed out because two people are speaking at one by one. Yeah.
So what is a research question?
Research question is nothing but whatever research problem which you have identified. To prove the research problem, you must have decided your variables. And based on variables, there are certain factors. I have already told you, latent variable and the statement. So out of the title and problem, you must have decided your latent variable. And to prove that latent variable, you must have asked the certain questions. This is questions. Just like we have decided.
Sir, put the research question or hypothesis in your study.
Sorry, can you repeat?
It's not the mandatory to put the research question or hypothesis in the study.
It is compulsory. Who said this? It's not compulsory. Hypothesis is a part of research. Research is always going to do.
Sometimes of research are like in experimental research or like that. So how can we put the hypothesis in that, sir?
Experimental research, even if you're not putting hypothesis, but at least you are doing the problem and your objective, so what you want to prove it, right? And even if you are not saying in experimental hypothesis, so experimental hypothesis means you are going to evolve something new, right? So this evolvement is related to something. Let's say you are going to find out one more factor. So at least you always find out the factor based on the impact. So at least you can make the hypothesis like, this particular things has an impact or this particular thing has not been impacted. And you club two things together and then you will make a name of this particular factors. So, but at least you have statement wise hypothesis and then exploratory also. The statement has an impact, the statement has proved something. Just like if I'm going for chemical industry or pharmaceutical industry, let's say in COVID-19 we were making a drugs, so every news channel was running an advertisement or the headlines that Covishield has this impact, क्या वैक्सीन बना ही पाएंगे, क्या वैक्सीन की इम्पैक्ट हो रही है. तो वैक्सीन की इम्पैक्ट जब टेस्टिंग चलता है तो उसका हाइपोथेसिस तो होगा कि भाई सो एंड सो केमिकल हैज एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन ह्यूमन बॉडी और नॉट. So there is no impact and there is an impact. So if impact has been proven, there is an impact. If impact has not been proven, there is no impact. So it is null hypothesis, right? So at least whenever you have certain objectives to find out something, you at least try to prove that impact on certain things. So even your factor has not been proven, but at least you are trying to see the impact of this particular thing so that you can make your own factors. So obviously hypothesis is there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? Right. Significance, you have to provide societal importance of the study, right? So always I say that the research without importance in societies has no importance at all. So always try to prove the importance, because if the things is not prevailing into the market, there is no scope of research because your research is not going to helpful to the society. So your research should always be prone to the benefit to the society, and if it is not there, you have to drop the idea. So obviously you have to align your research with the societal importance. Graphical areas, just like I had told, right? Somebody will doing research in Himachal Pradesh, somebody is doing in MP, right? So this is even in MP also you can have the selected cities like Indore, Bhopal, Malwa, right? So these are the selected cities which you can always target. Sampling plan, how you are going to see the samples, right? Either sampling plan has many things like sampling techniques, sampling area, sample size, right? So all things you have to decide as a part of your research work. So that is called sampling plan. Tools for gathering data, we have already seen that, quantitative data collection, face to face you can go, you can collect online through the Google questionnaire, phone you can have an interview, mail questionnaire. All these parameters are the part of collection of data. Now, types of data we have already discussed: nominal, ordinal, and scale data. Choosing variables, so independent, dependent, categorical, continuous. So independent, dependent we have already seen in regression. Categorical means category. That means, let's say if I'm asking age, so less than 20, 20 to 40, 41 to 60, this is category. And continuous means if I'm not asking anything in category, it is an open-ended question like age and bracket. So people are free to answer. That is called in numbers. So it is quantitative. Qualitative and quantitative we have already seen. So data analysis tools and techniques we have already discussed, and tomorrow we will discuss in a detailed manner. So I'm not going into detail much, but yes, I have already speak about it, that these are the descriptive, all these data analysis tools. Findings and conclusions. So already we have discussed because there was one questions. The finding and conclusion should always provide the answers to the hypothesis. Hypothesis should always provide the answers for the objective. Objective should always be prepared based on research problem. Research problem should always be decided based on the literature review. And literature review should always be done based on the title of the research. I hope you are clear. So there is a
Yes, sir.
synchronization process, right? So nowhere you can miss out any of the steps and process. If you missed out, I think you are missing the train. Yeah, so that is where your ultimate findings should match. Your ultimate findings should conclude the title of the research. So that is where it is findings and conclusions. Recommendations. What is the recommendations out of your study, right? So how you recommend this particular study? By showing the usefulness, by showing the limitations, right? Based by showing the major findings that you have reported, right? So that is called recommendations. So that's it from my side. Now I'm making this platform open for question answer. If you have any questions, please ask. The stage is yours. Yes, please. Any questions, any suggestions you want? Anything you want to see tomorrow session? So all things are welcome. It's not like that.
Sir,
Yes, please.
so can you say anything about the review paper, sir?
Review paper is something like, you are trying to review the opinions, right? So whatsoever previous research which has happened, you just have to see the findings, methodology, objectives, and based on that findings and all this aspect, you have to align those findings with your research work and you need to conclude it. What is the opinion, what is the outcome, what is the problems. So this is called review paper. You in review paper majorly you are making the findings and conclusion of previous researcher in the concluding manner of your own research. So this is called review paper.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any more questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
I have more question. What is the
Ah,
difference between review paper and book chapter?
it is from the publisher's point of view. Nothing, there is no difference. You can publish a review paper in books and you can publish a review paper in journal articles. The difference is the qualitative and quantitative. When you are saying review paper, it is qualitative. And quantitative means you are collecting your own data and you are trying to assess all those parameters and you are trying to provide the findings and conclusion. This is called quantitative. So review paper, qualitative research can be published in books and journals both. Again, the same is applicable to the journals also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, any more questions?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
uh, how to identify the base paper? What are all the things
What
we
very,
need to
very
consider
noisy
while
things are there. Can you repeat it?
represent? How to identify the base paper? What are all the things need to be considered while choosing the base paper?
There is no best paper, I think. You have to see your research topic based on which, yeah, you can have the best journal categories. But I think there is no universal norms and criteria. Nobody say that this is best and this is worst. Yeah, most importantly is whatever paper that you are referring, they should be from the good quality journals and they should have at least justified the research parameters in a scientific ground, right? For you, there would be some certain paper is best, and for others, certain paper is best. So there is no unanimous criteria for this. But yes, the paper which justify the title, objective, hypothesis, data analysis, and findings, these are considered to be the bestest paper. And it could not be the one; it could be multiple.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, will you talk about the process of publishing a research paper and also about like peer-reviewed articles and all that?
Process. You want to see the process.
Yeah, will you talk about that? The process of how you get it out, like review and how it goes on to the next step.
I think this particular things I'm already taking up. So we have one more series which is coming on, I think 2nd June onwards. So that is 10 days FTP. So where we are going to discuss all these things in a detailed manner. And because this process is not being answered in 1, 2, or 5 minutes. But yeah, you can definitely join this program. Right? But anything, if you have any problems, so you can always take out my contact details, so I'll always be answered, right? But yeah, for detailed understanding, you should join this program. I think on 2nd to 12th of June we have it. So I think the brochure is already out. So here you will get the everything in a detailed manner. From writing of the research to publishing the research work. So everything you will get it in a very detailed manner. So you must join it if you have this question. how the journal selection needs to be done, how to put your papers to the journal, and how the review process are going on through the journal, which factors they are taking into consideration, while publishing your paper into their journal. So what sort of things that you need to take care. So all this aspect, we will discuss on this particular part.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions? Okay.
Yes, sir. So, Kunal,
Yeah, but still, if you have any questions, I have put my number. Thank you so much, RFI, to invite me today. Thank you, Neha madam, for connecting and coordinating. Thank you, lovely audience, for your patient listening, and I hope this session is useful to you. Thank you. Thank you.
sir.
Over to you,
Thank
Neha
you
madam.
so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So, as we conclude today's insightful session, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to all participants for their active involvement and thoughtful contributions. A special word of thanks to our session expert, Dr. Kunal Suri sir, for sharing his profound knowledge and experience with us. We are also deeply thankful to the organizing committee for their meticulous planning and tireless efforts. Our heartfelt appreciation goes to our supporting partners and sponsors for their continued encouragement and collaboration, without which this meaningful initiative would not have been possible. Thank you all once again, and we look forward to your participation in tomorrow's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all of you. Goodbye.